the green light. Okay, I believe we are live. I would like to call us to order. In accordance with South Carolina Code of Laws 1985, Section 30-4-80-E, the following have been notified of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting: the Herald, the Charlotte Observer, CN2, and WRHI. Welcome everybody to our meeting this evening. If I could, I'd like to ask you all to join me, please, in a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board members, you have all received a copy of the agenda. Were there any adjustments or corrections? If not, that will stand as approved by unanimous consent. Now, we're going to start off the night with some special recognition.
Right.
So I'm going to immediately turn it over to
I'm going to get Miss
you
McGinn and
Ms.
let good.
McGinn.
Good evening. Our mission in the tradition of excellence, Fort Mill Schools place children first every day by providing an innovative and rigorous education that empowers all students to achieve their greatest success. It is our privilege to honor these exceptional members of the Fort Mill Schools family, our 22 teachers and support staff of the year, who continue to represent and model that tradition of excellence every day. Through the most challenging of times, through what seems to be the never-ending pandemic story. Well, here's the real story tonight. These teachers and support staff have gone into this chaotic 2-year pandemic battle with perseverance and resilience, that whatever it takes attitude, with flexibility, creativity, compassion, and passion. Passion for their work, passion for their profession, and passion for placing children first every day. Whether caught in the crosshairs of social media or political bends, they have taken the challenge on, and our students are succeeding. And I have never been more proud of the educators in our district than I am tonight. The selection processes are under the direction of the Teacher Forum and the Support Staff of the Year Leadership Group. Nicole Lefebvre, our 21 Teacher of the Year, and Brandon Sanders, our 1920 Teacher of the Year, helped direct the Teacher of the Year process that starts like this. It's a year-long process. It began last winter with nominations being made at each school and district-level areas. School and district-level winners are selected and recognized. Each had the opportunity of the Teacher of the Year, or each of the support staff and Teacher of the Year had the opportunity to enter the district competition, and they completed an application packet. For the support staff of the year, external judges were used to review the applications and select a winner. For the Teacher of the Year, the process models the state process for State Teacher of the Year. External judges scored the applications, and 5 honor roll teachers were selected and recognized in a ceremony last spring. An external team of judges then reviewed the applications, observed in the real classroom all 5 honor roll teachers, and then conducted interviews one-on-one. Using a rubric, the judges selected the District Teacher of the Year, in case you're wondering how the process works. And again, it models the State Teacher of the Year because the Teacher of the Year from Fort Mill School District can enter that state competition. The prizes, thanks to Leroy Springs and Company, South State Bank, Jostens, and State Line Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge, we thank them for partnering with the district to honor our support staff and Teachers of the Year. Each school-level Teacher of the Year and support staff of the year will receive a check for $350 from the district and a personalized recognition award. Honor roll teachers will receive $500, and overall winners will receive a prize package of over $1,500. I'd like to introduce our Executive Director of Human Resources, who will announce the winners. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Tonight we're going to start our recognition
with our support staff of the year winners. Our winners represent all of our schools and our departments. So as you come up to receive your award, we'd just like you to remain up front until the very end, please. Okay? All right. Donna Jackley, Administrative Assistant at Catawba Ridge High School. Randy Dennison, Head Custodian at Fort Mill High School. Lori Stout, Head Nurse at Nation Ford High School. Melissa McGaddy, Instructional Assistant at Banks Trail Middle School. Heather Brandenburg, School Nurse at Fort Mill Middle School. Philip Thompson, AM Day Porter at Gold Hill Middle School. Deanne Meek, Technology Assistant at Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Kelly Coutrone, Technology Assistant at Springfield Middle School. Brenda Wilgus, Technology Assistant at Doby's Bridge Elementary School. Sherry Owens, Technology Assistant at Fort Mill Elementary School. Laura Steinbach, Kindergarten Assistant at Gold Hill Elementary School. Becky McAteer Morris, Receptionist at Kingstown Elementary School. Dawn Wright, Instructional Assistant at Orchard Park Elementary School. Grenda Dounce, School Nurse at Pleasant Knoll Elementary School. Jennifer Sova, School Nurse at River Trail Elementary School. Suzanne McClelland, Riverview Elementary School, School Nurse.
Scoot to the left a little.
All right. Jennifer Miller, School Nurse at Springfield Elementary School. Hope Trigg, Receptionist at Tegakay Elementary School. Artie Johnson, Maintenance Technician, Maintenance Department for Fort Mill Schools. Amanda Carter, Receptionist, Transportation Department, Fort Mill Schools. Tamara Osborne, COVID Response Coordinator, District Office. At this time, Dr. Epps, would you like to come up and make the district winner announcement? Oh, late arrival. All right, we have a late arrival. Sorry about that.
Fort Mill High School.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Randy Dennison, Fort Mill High School head custodian.
Get to do the fun part. Before I announce this one, I know this winner will be a true representative of all our hardworking support staff employees, and we're so proud of Suzanne McClellan, Riverview Elementary. All right, now it's time to recognize our Teachers of the Year. Again, these winners represent all of our schools here in Fort Mill. And so I'd like to start with Gigi Frank, Special Education at Banks Trail Middle School. Allison Teague, Physical Education Teacher at Fort Mill Middle School. Lindsay Everhart, 6th grade Science Teacher at Gold Hill Middle School. Heather Picaro, 6th grade Science Teacher at Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Brittany Myers, Special Education Teacher at Doby's Bridge Elementary School. Jennifer Haynes, Special Education Teacher at Fort Mill Elementary School. Brandy Clark, Technology Teacher at Gold Hill Elementary School. Crystal James, Kindergarten Teacher at Kingstown Elementary School. Michelle Sutter Hook, Kindergarten Teacher at Pleasant Knoll Elementary School. Jennifer Brailsford, Literacy Specialist at River Trail Elementary School. James Whitlock, 3rd grade teacher at Riverview Elementary School. Michael Pearson, technology teacher at Springfield Elementary School. Melissa Rickman, media specialist at Sugar Creek Elementary School. Jill Fuller, music teacher at Tegakay Elementary School.
Okay. Tonight, we also want to let everyone know that our 5 honor roll teachers that we have here in front of us as a part of this program, that the honor roll teachers were presented with the honor roll, award originally back in April, when we originally held our Teacher of the Year banquet. So tonight, these are our finalists as the 5 honor roll teachers. I'd like to start with recognizing Marion Bates, math teacher at Catawba Ridge High School. Barry Ledford, guidance counselor, Fort Mill High School. Rick Solt, English teacher at Nation Ford High School. Amanda Cawthon, lead teacher at Orchard Park Elementary. Laura Merck, 6th grade math at Springfield Middle School. All right, Dr. Epps.
It's kind of bad doing the fun part. Again, tonight's Teacher of the Year district winner represents all of our fine employees and all of the people standing here and all the folks back in the classrooms. This year's 2021 Teacher of the Year, Laura Merck.
Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. All right, Dr. Epps, at this time, I'd like to welcome Travis Kahn, who's with us from Jostens.
There's more.
I'm going to be brief. I know y'all are ready to get rolling with this thing, but first and foremost, I appreciate the board, the administrative staff for allowing me to be a part of this. You know, as a father of 2 children, Teacher of the Year means a lot more than it used to, especially with 2 in school and having to deal with the quarantining, because we've done that twice, and all the other things that have gone on. Y'all's job got so much harder 2 years ago, and on behalf of my company, I wish we could do more. You will be presented with a ring, and so will Staff of the Year as well. I'll get your size when we get done. But just thank you to everybody in all the school districts, no matter what level you're on. As a parent and as someone that's in a business that works in the schools, we sure appreciate you. And congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
All right. Next, we'd like to also welcome Allison Musante from State Line, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Alfa Romeo, maybe?
Thank you again for having me here. It's really become one of my favorite events. You know, you had a hard enough job. You honestly did. And 2 years ago, it just became more and more challenging. And the landscape has been changing. And even the feel in this room is a little bit different than it has been in the last 4 years. But I just want you guys to know that, you know, it's probably one of the most selfless and underappreciated jobs that one can do, and you guys are obviously the top of your game. So you're all winners here. I wish I could give you all cars, but considering we don't have that many right now, I can only give you one. But what we would like to do this year is do a bigger event. where we'll present you with a vehicle in front of your colleagues and as well as your students. So we're going to do a little bit of a two-part thing. So at a later date, I don't know when it's going to be, but thank you for all that you guys do. I know it's been really challenging, so just want to, and thank you for having me because this really is a great event. So congratulations to all of you.
So in addition, I think Leroy Springs has a prize package and South State contributes. So thank you all. And like I said, we'll award you the car at your school. So that'll be a fun way to get out of class a little bit there. So congratulations to all of you and thank you.
Congratulations.
Just a second. Like you said, that is always very exciting. Even without a car in person, it's still very exciting to see the best and the best of our district. We're going to move on to our agenda. Our next item, 3.01, is approval of minutes from both the August 10th and the August 24th meetings. You all received a copy of those. We'll start with August 10th. Were there any adjustments or corrections?
No, ma'am.
If not, those will stand as approved by unanimous consent. And then August 24th, any adjustments or corrections? All right, same thing. Those will stand as approved. Our next item is public participation. Do you guys want to go get a few at a time? I'm not sure exactly. I know we've got 15 folks. Are we going to bring them in one at a time or? We have several already in the room. Okay. Okay, so the only thing I want to do is I do want to set a little bit of the stage for, that we have public participation at all of our meetings. We have a 15-minute time window. It just so happens I have 15 cards, so everybody will get a minute to address the board. This is your opportunity to address the board with any comments and concerns that you want to share. We will ask you to adhere to your time. It will be displayed on the board. I think the other thing that I will say is reading some of the subjects that are going to be discussed, I know there are probably going to be opposing opinions on a lot of things, and so I'm going to ask that we be respectful and mindful of our time as well as of our speakers, and we listen to what everybody has to say without interruptions or outbursts, and conduct ourselves appropriately. So with that, the first card I have, I don't know that the order means anything. They're just the way they were handed to me. The first one I have is Jen Callahan. Oh, she is in the room. Okay. So she got to hear the spiel, so that's good. So if you'll come up, state your name and address, and then your time will begin.
All right. Can I hand you guys what I was going
You
to
sure can. You can.
I hope I have enough.
If not, we'll make copies.
We can make some copies and pass them around to the rest of us.
Thank you. Hi. Is it? Okay. Oh, right. Jennifer Callahan, 2041 Angel Oak Drive in Fort Mill. I have 2 kids in school district.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Superintendent, School Board, for the opportunity to address the board. I was thinking about how tired we are of another year of COVID, but I have 2 kids in the district who had to quarantine by the second week of school, so I can't pretend it isn't here. We trust you to leverage your authority wisely to keep our kids safe and healthy, and here's what we need to do. DHEC calls for multiple preventive strategies to be in place to prevent spread. This includes testing, quarantining, timely contact tracing, and also notification of close contacts in class, which has been kind of inconsistently applied, it seems like. So according to DHEC, a close contact is someone who is within 6 feet of an infected person for 15 minutes. These should be the top of the list, not even talking about masking. We place the health and safety of our kids in your hands. Also, when it comes to data reporting, please better transparency, more columns, separated columns in the dashboard. I know I'm running out of time. We're headed into winter and transmissions and infections are gonna get bigger. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and there's time. The next card I have is Michelle Casile. Okay, she's in here as well. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Michelle Casile, live in Fort Mill. My address is on the card. I handed you a copy of the Fort Mill School District positive cases by number and percentage. Positive cases for each school are at or below 4%. Pleasant Knoll has 3% positive cases. 925 students, which includes IEP 504, special needs students, and students with working parents, are forced to stay home, some with limited access or no access to the internet. IEP and 504 plans are protected under the Disabilities and the Rehabilitation Act. These are possible violations. I also included Dr. Epps' email from August 25th that states a school closure trigger is 10% positive cases and for positive cases. And Dr. Burke's response was that the closure was triggered by observed potential spread. These three pieces of information contradict each other. Guidelines, protocols, and recommendations are not law. I have yet to find a law, that state or federal law, that says ESSER funds will be withheld if you do not quarantine healthy students. Please stop the unlawful quarantining of healthy students and closing schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next I have Jackie Terabeel. Is that close? Okay.
Excellent. I think I'd have missed it.
Hi.
Hello.
Have these
All right, more
handouts,
papers.
please. Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever I'm ready. My name is Jackie Terraville from Fort Mill. I am with Moms for Liberty. Our group is here to promote parents' rights, and that also includes supporting the teachers and staff at our schools. To show our thanks, our group donated baskets of supplies to every school in the district. Our members look at all sides of the issues, and we'd like the board to be more transparent when it comes to COVID policies and sharing information with us, both bad and good. All we keep hearing is about cases and numbers of kids quarantined, but there's more to understanding the threat than just giving us a tally of cases. An FM administrator confirmed to me today that not one student in our district has died from COVID since this all began, and that is great news. But I was told that we are not tracking how many of the positive cases have come back healthy with no permanent medical issues. What percentage of the hundreds of quarantined students are actually testing positive for COVID? We don't know because you are not tracking that information and you're not sharing it with us. So our reasonable parents would appreciate more information to make decisions rather than just being told the number of cases without any context. And you have all my information there. I'd love to discuss this further with each and every one of you. And thank you for having me today in Moms of Liberty.
Thank you very much. A little golf clap. The next card I have is Kristen, I think it's Kristen Adams. Oh, she's apparently in the hall. I don't know if you got to hear my spiel before. You'll have a minute to address the board.
Okay. Thank you.
If you'll start with your name and address, and then your time begins.
Okay. Hello, my name is Kristen Adams, and I live in Cameron Creek. And in 2017, we moved here to be in the Fort Mill School District. I never thought I would feel the need to pull my child out of Fort Mill. But as the summer of 2020 continued on, and there was still a debate of virtual or in-person learning, masks being mandatory, I knew I had to do something. So I pulled my daughter out of Fort Mill. I didn't want her to miss any more instructional time. She attends a private school that is keeping a mask optional and is also making quarantining optional for students. Her school trusts me as a parent that if they told me that she was exposed to COVID and she shows any symptoms or signs, I will keep her at home, and it's working. She has been exposed twice now, and she didn't get it either time, and neither did anyone else in her grade level. She didn't miss any in-person instruction time. I checked her temperature regularly, and I asked her if she felt any symptoms, and I trusted that the rest of the parents in her class were doing the same. I'm so glad for the return to common sense at this school. Germs are not going anywhere. Kids need to be in school. This is the third year of interrupted instruction for most students. When is enough enough? Make quarantining optional and trust parents to do what is best, and most of them will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have Chris Germano. I don't know if you heard, you'll have a minute to address the board. If you would state your name and address, and then the time is all yours.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Chris Germano. I live in Trinity Ridge. Just wanted to give some statistics, kind of what's going on here at these meetings. So, because I see a lot of people watch on YouTube. So we got Moms for Liberty outside. Probably got 100 almost people this week, just supporting pro-choice for your child. They're not against masks. They're not for masks. They're for you, supporting your right to govern your children how you feel fit. And I feel that's very important, so I support that group. I would like to see more fathers come out and support these women. They're very courageous. They're very organized, and they do a really good job. This one bill I wanted to talk to real quick was Bill 4388, and I'm just going to go over what it says. It says, whether an individual public school student will wear a mask or other face covering for medical reasons and or otherwise in a public school facility and on a public school bus is in the sole discretion of the parent of the student. Parent, okay, of the student. To provide that, the discretion of whether the individual public school employee will wear a mask or other covering for medical reasons or otherwise while in a public school facility. So parents and teachers, you have the right to choose what you would like to do.
Thank you, Mr. Jamal.
Yeah, you got it. See you guys next time.
I have Gina Mitchell. She's in the room.
My name is Gina Mitchell, and I live in Fort Mill. This is my 8th grader's 3rd year of significant disruption to his education and social development. I also have an older one, but I'm a little more worried about my middle schooler because he will not have a normal middle school experience. And I fear that he will not have a normal high school experience either, and I think it is time for us to start planning for that. And how I would like to plan for that is to start using up-to-date knowledge instead of just reacting. If we use our up-to-date scientific knowledge to minimize disruptions. For example, we know that students who have recovered from COVID have more than 90 days of immunities that have built up in their bodies, and we can use this knowledge to give students more days in the classroom. Also, I think we need to start keeping track of quarantines. How many students quarantine, test positive, show symptoms, test negative, go to the hospital, and use that knowledge to give our kids back more days in the classroom. Thank you for letting my kids go to school here.
Thank you.
Desiree Accenture? Even close? I don't know.
My name is Desiree, and I am representing an anonymous letter for a mom of a child from Fort Mill High School. Last December and January, when the school decided to go virtual last minute, her child was impacted. She was told by a school psychologist it was for her child's health. Shortly after Christmas, her 12-year-old found a knife in her brother's bathroom. He was a junior at Fort Mill High School. The idea of being virtual again was too much for him to endure, and he didn't think he could go on. She's grateful that his sister came to her so she could get her child help. She doesn't believe that this is in the best interest, virtual school is in the best interest for her children, because she knows her children best. And she just wants the school to be accountable to what is truly a threat for her family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly McCarty.
Hi, my name is Kelly McCarty, and I live here in Fort Mill, and I'm here with Moms for Liberty. And I wanted to talk to you guys real quick about quarantine. My daughter is in 6th grade at Pleasant Knoll. She went the first day of school and loved it. she jumped in the car and said, Mom, I love school now because we got to switch classes and walk around the hallways. It was like normal middle school. Last year it was not. Well, guess what? The next day I got a phone call. She's got close contact, which I understand, but she had to quarantine 7-10 days and a negative test. She came back on the 25th, went to school for another full day. So that's 2 full days. I get a phone call on the 26th. She's in a cohort group. 14 days. I would have her back September 9th. Well, guess what? I got a phone call this past Thursday. Pleasant Knoll is shut down and won't be going back until the 17th. My child's had 2 full days of instruction. 2. And she's crying, and it breaks my heart. Because she doesn't like school anymore, and she's in middle school, and it is ruining her. This fear as adults that we are putting on our children is wrong. They're okay, and that's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Yard.
Good evening, I'm Chris Yard. I live 6070 Drave Lane. I want to talk about a mask mandate and why we need it. I'm going to give you 2 reasons. Number 1 is virtual school. We all know that's the direction we're headed if we can't get cases under control. I beg of you, these children cannot endure more virtual school. They need the social development. They need the academic development. They need the structure. They need the overall mental health that in-person school will provide. Second reason, they need their grandparents. My father, retired Marine, Vietnam veteran. Simply too risky for him to see his grandchildren when they're exposed to unmasked children all day, every day. Please, do not take away their grandchildren. Do not take away their school. Protect the children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Sarah Steinbacher.
Hi, my name is Dr. Sarah Steinbacher. I have an EDD in education, and I live in Fort Mill. Fort Mill's school district advertises that it follows the South Carolina DHEC close contact guidelines. However, in reality, the district is not following the DHEC guidelines. DHEC defines close contact as someone who is within 6 feet of an infected person for a cumulative of 15 minutes over a 24-hour period, with the exclusion of students within 3 to 6 feet of both the infected and the exposed person wore masks during the exposure time. This exception does not apply to infected adults in the classroom setting. Fort Mill School District is still using the flat 3-foot close contact quarantine policy, which is against both CDC and DHEC guidelines. The DHEC policy recognizes the efficacy of mask wearing and reducing the spread of COVID in indoor classroom settings. York One School District cited this specific DHEC policy as part of their rationale for the mask mandate they voted for on August 27th. Fort Mill's failure to follow the DHEC policy is concerning as it increases the likelihood of greater COVID spread. This is exemplified by Fort Mill's having a higher student positivity rate than all the surrounding counties. Sorry, my throat. At almost 2% of our student body currently testing for positive for COVID. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather Rogers.
Hello. My name is Heather Rogers. I live in TKK. My address is on the card. Just wanted to give a quick scenario that I currently have experienced with my child. Last Tuesday, he was exposed to COVID. I know this, and I knew it the day after because the parent contacted me because the 2 boys are friends. However, he got tested on Wednesday. His test results did not come back until late on Friday, and they came back positive, and I got the close contact call from the school today. So for the past week, my son has been walking around and could be possibly exposing unknown amount of kids to the virus. So with the lag of time, it's just not effective. That's how we're getting the increased spread. The partial mask, partial non-mask is not working, as evidenced by classrooms quarantining, schools quarantining. I feel like a decision needs to be made one way or the other, and I would vote for a mask to keep our kids in school. Virtual does not work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Daniel Munoz.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I am a concerned parent of two girls, ages 7 and 10, that attend Fort Mill Elementary School. The South Carolina Department of Health is showing today COVID cases in South Carolina that are as bad as now as the worst time during the pandemic in December 2020, but our risk posture is more relaxed. I believe this leadership team can take directions to better protect the students without having any funds withheld, but just observing the South Carolina Department of Health guidelines. The guidelines, and I quote, are maintaining 3 feet of distance between each person, arrange desk to maximally increase the space between them, make desk face the same direction rather than facing each other, remove non-essential furniture. I believe it is our responsibility, your responsibility, to follow and implement South Carolina Department of Health guidelines and to put as many risk prevention strategies in place to protect the health of Fort Mills and vaccinated children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next card I have is Craig Latuga.
Craig Latuga, Waterstone Community, Fort Mill. Okay, I'm here today because my kid is in middle school, Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Is an average kid, gets C's and B's. Yesterday they told him he had to go to virtual learning, okay? He needs a teacher to explain problems that virtual is not working for him, okay? He needs to be the one-on-one with the teacher, okay? Some kids get it quicker than other kids, okay? Everybody is different. My kid needs a teacher so he can ask questions. I am not a teacher. I'm a tradesman. That's my career. I cannot teach my kid like a teacher. Okay, his math problems are very difficult, and I try to teach him my way. And you know what? Hopefully it's the way that the teachers are teaching. I feel like I have respect for the teachers in Fort Mill. They do a great job. But my kid needs to go back to school. If your kid's sick, keep them home. If you're scared, if they're going to get the COVID, then just keep them home, homeschool them yourself. But we need teachers to teach the kids.
Stacy Kobe.
Yep, I think so.
Hi, my name is Stacy Kobe. I'm a doctoral student in the Occupational Therapy Department at Wingate University. I live in 1818 Petunia Drive in Fort Mill, South Carolina. My son is John, a second grader at Springfield Elementary School. For transparency's sake, I will say that I kept my special needs child home in Fort Mill Academy last year because of COVID and would rather have done that again this year if that option was given to me. However, we're all here because we care about the children of this district. The COVID adaptations and precautions in place this year are insufficient to keep our kids safe, well, and in school. The numbers reported today show that our district currently has 236 positive cases, 987 in quarantine, in addition to 2 entire schools that have had to switch to virtual learning due to community spread. At last year's peak COVID numbers in January, there had been no school closures, 123 positive cases, and 688 quarantine across the students and staff. We now have over 2 times more positive cases than we did at our worst last year, and almost 1.5 times more students and staff in quarantine. The difference in numbers is due to last year's reduced classroom sizes, full virtual academy option, mask requirement, and a variant that was significantly less contagious. Somehow, even with 18 months, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have one additional card, Michael Lazaro.
Hey, good evening. Michael Lazaro, Fort Mill.
Let us catch up.
Say again?
Just hold
Give her 1 second.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. DHEC doesn't get to violate our rights. CDC doesn't get to determine how far our rights are violated. There are just certain things that too many men and women have fought and bled and suffered and died over. For us to just give it up over a virus for which the recovery rate is 99.99% for children underneath the age of 17. None of this makes sense, and I really want to see my elected representatives speaking out about that aggressively, because our rights are under attack. Our rights are under attack, and with it, the future of this country. I was reading an article in Bangladesh. People are getting arrested. Matter of fact, they're not getting arrested. They're disappearing because they're speaking out against government. And it's gotten to the point where those people, those poor people, Bangladeshis, are getting arrested. They're disappearing, I'm saying. So we have to stand up. We have to be vigilant. We have to look at the long term, at the big picture. The big picture. Don't let CDC run your district. You run your district based off of the feedback of your constituents. Good, law-abiding taxpayers. Thank you very much.
All right. We've got a few reports and information to get updates on. The first one is on the Employee Assistance Program. I believe Greg Hunter is here. Liza, you going to introduce it?
Good evening. We had a slight change. Joyce McGarry is actually here from McLaughlin Young Employee Assistance Program. Greg couldn't be with us tonight, so we're happy to have Joyce.
Thanks. And Greg would tell you that I'm much better looking than him, so just so you know. But thank you so much for allowing me to be here tonight. Just a little note, before I was with my group, I worked at a little school district up the road, CMS, so I really appreciate all that you do and all that you're going through. It's very, very, very hard, so I appreciate it. But with that said, it's so important. I think we all recognize how important an employee assistance program is, especially these days. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in and kind of give you an overview of the program. But if you do have questions, please let me know. You can reach me, Joyce, at that 800 number if you have any questions. But let's go ahead and talk about the EAP. It is a school-sponsored benefit, so that means your faculty, your staff, they do not have to enroll in this program. I always tease people you don't even need to know the current TikTok dance in order to use the EAP. All you do is you pick up the phone, you give us a call. If you have access and you prefer to use your computer, you can reach us via the computer. But the school realizes that the teachers, the faculty, the staff, you're the most important asset, and so this is one of the ways they can take care of you. In addition to that, not only is it for the employee themselves, but it's also for their family members. So maybe the employee's doing fine, but they have a child that's struggling. Guess what? They can use the EAP as well. So it's for the child, it's for the parents, it's for those that reside in the home. And what it does is it provides counseling services as well as work-life resources. And what's great is that the work-life resources are fairly new this year. With the counseling, folks receive up to 3 counseling sessions per issue for unlimited separate issues. Has anybody been a little stressed this year? Could you all use a little bit of help with anxiety, maybe handling your finances, anything like that? Well, guess what? The EAP can help you with that. We offer the short-term counseling. We do offer virtual counseling, telephonic counseling, face-to-face counseling. It is short-term resolution focus therapy. It is with a fully licensed counselor that's in your area that can help you. In addition to the counseling, guess what? You also have what we call work-life resources. Legal financial consultations. You get a 30-minute free legal consultation per topic. It can't be employment related, but pretty much every other issue. So if you have somebody that's struggling, maybe with a divorce, child custody issues, I won't make you raise your hands, but if anybody has had a traffic ticket and you need to talk to an attorney, guess what? You can call the EAP for that. So it's extremely, extremely helpful. Financial consultants, oh my goodness, you have unlimited financial consultations through the program. If you want to get a better handle on your budget, maybe you have a new baby in the home and you want to save for their college, the EAP can help you with that as well. The most important aspect, though, of the EAP is that it is completely confidential. No one will ever know that you've used the program. We don't share your name. We don't share any information about you. It is completely confidential. Those clinicians that I talked about earlier, they take their licensing very, very seriously. No one will know that you have used the EAP services. We call it life skill development. Children come to school to learn all kinds of skills. Talking about math, oh my goodness gracious. Any kind of skill. That's what we're doing here with the EAP, is helping people with life skill development. We don't learn necessarily in school how to best handle our finances. There's not a school or a class for how we best handle a divorce. Well, guess what? The EAP can help you with that. I also tease, we work with a lot of schools. I say sometimes you just need to vent a little bit. You can vent to the EAP. It's really, really helpful. As someone who has used the counseling services, it's like a weight is just lifted off your shoulders. But these are just some of the reasons why people use the program. As I mentioned, it's completely confidential. We take that very seriously. Our company has been in the business over 30 years, and we've never had an issue because of confidentiality, and that's one of the reasons why we have been in the business that long, is because of that confidentiality of the program. Your work-life services, you can gain access to the work-life services. We have all kinds of training programs online, a savings center where you can get all kinds of discounted programs, create a will. For the legal financial, as I mentioned, a 30-minute free legal consultation per topic, as well as discounted rates. Financial services, like I mentioned, if you need to get a better handle on your budget, you can call the EAP and we can definitely help you put a plan in place for that. But these are all ways that we can take care of our teachers and our staff in the schools. We have searchable databases that folks can use on our website, as well as for things such as childcare, elder care services. So in summary, we're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, even on holidays. It's confidential short-term counseling with a professional counselor, virtual, telephonic, face-to-face counseling sessions, your legal and financial consultations. All folks need to do is pick up the phone to give us a call. So with that in mind, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about the reporting for the services. So I think that's a separate PowerPoint for that. I think we'll switch over. But questions while we're kind of switching gears here? No? Okay. So here's our utilization report. I've had people ask me if this is one of our counselors, and I'm like, no, it's not. But just real briefly, I want to show you, you're making great use of the program. We've had around 117 cases. 137 individuals within those cases are using the EAP, so that's a great utilization of the EAP services. Your utilization rate is about 6.75, and that's a perfect rate for using the EAP services. The national average of EAP utilization is about 4%, so you're just a little bit over that, but I think we can all acknowledge that that makes sense, that the EAP is used quite a bit by for our teachers. Now, as I go through, we just have some general information here. And what's one of the things that you notice as I go through here? Are you seeing any demographic information here? You won't. You will not see demographic information. But what I do want you to kind of take note of here are some of the reasons, some of the presenting problems why people are using the program. You'll see as a comparison from last year to this year, there is a jump in such issues as depression, legal, which is great. You've recently added that work-life resource, so legal has been a real increase. That can be such a cost savings for employees. Marriage and family and child, all reasons why people use the EAP. A little fun fact, anxiety has never been a top reason people have used the EAP before. It's one of the top reasons this past year and a half. Okay? So with that in mind, you're making great use of the program. I really encourage you to share all information about the EAP with your faculty, with your staff members. We're here to help, and we're here to take care of you. So thank you so much.
And I hope we are making sure that the information gets out to all of our staff, because it definitely sounds like, given the current state of things, it would be
I think we pushed it
beneficial.
out pretty frequently here
Good.
lately, right?
Perfect.
We sent out a real detailed email from A.G. Baker as our benefits specialist.
Okay.
So, yes.
Well, that's the primary reason it's on the agenda tonight. They just reported within the last year. Greg was here. Seems like it was in the last year. So we thought it was timely to get it back out on.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that it's actually being used, because we want people to reach out when they have a reason to reach out, so that's very important. Okay, we've got an update scheduled for the Foundation for Fort Mill Schools.
Yes, ma'am. So last year, at the end of the school year, the foundation awarded 30 teacher principal grants to the tune of $32,000. In scholarships, we gave away 21 scholarships to 21 seniors, and that totaled $31,000. Classroom Ready had a big year as anticipated and expected. In 2020-2021, they served 1,450 students, which included 485 backpacks, for a total of $114,422 in donations. And that is overwhelming to me that we have a community that blesses children in our area and families and neighbors that way. But it's not just the community, it's businesses and fundraisers and things like that. But the schools also received $54,000 and some change in office supplies, just about $5,000 in art supplies, and $9,600 went to the 64 new teachers. It was about $150 a piece worth of school supplies that they would need as new teachers that we had hired last year. The Clays for Cause event was very successful. We earned about $5,000 on that, and the Tech Dowling Golf Tournament earned $21,000. So again, we want to thank all of our volunteers in the community, our neighborhoods that get together, businesses, organizations, and so forth, that we couldn't give that much money back to the classrooms and the teachers and the seniors and the students without the community support and businesses as well.
Thank you. Very exciting, and certainly another one of those, a year that came in very handy, I'm sure, for a lot of those families. So. The last item under reports and information is a few of us were in Charleston. Are we in Charleston? Yes, for the South Carolina School Board Association. It was the school law conference. I mean, I can share a couple thoughts and then open it to anyone else. It was interesting. We actually did not talk, for the most part, about COVID and masks and those kind of things. This was more ongoing Supreme Court level discussion about things having to do with student speech, and sort of when a student is considered a student and therefore governed by school policy, and when a student is on their own time. And there have been some interesting Supreme Court rulings come out lately that that help define that, and the same thing for staff. You know, what the Supreme Court realized is that a lot of the case law that they refer back to was all well before social media. And so it just doesn't contemplate in some of these tinker cases and things that they refer back to you know, the ability for people to say things about the school? And does the statement occur when it's posted, or does the statement occur when a kid reads it? And what if they read it when they're on school property? Is it now an at-school situation? So it was very interesting to hear some of the things that they're wrestling with in terms of social media and free speech and privacy and all those things. So, but I don't know what all you guys would want to share. It's all this into the table, as a matter of fact. So, anybody down here have anything to add?
I guess I got a couple of things that there was a couple of topics they talked about that don't directly, immediately impact our district. We're in pretty good standing, but in principle and legally speaking, it does, and it changes some of those the relationship between local school districts and central government in South Carolina, i.e. Columbia. One is district consolidation. There's been a number of those happen over the district. There's 11 schools, districts that just got consolidated in. I don't know how many. Like an example would be Hampton 1 and 2 got consolidated into one. There may have been more Orangeburg area, Clarendon, basically lower state. Yeah, it's happening really where districts are shrinking for the most part. And I always knew, and it made sense that from a efficiency standpoint, it doesn't make sense to have all of the overhead that you got to have for a district for a small. I mean, we've got districts that are smaller than our elementary schools or the size of our high school. Those two specific, that Hampton example is precisely one. It's 1,900 something and 683. But there's another aspect of it that I really hadn't thought about before. It changes the tax base. Some of the counties, you can look in York, it's somewhat this way. One side of the county has a lot more business, a lot more tax base than the other side of the county. And so the district over in the lower tax base area can't afford to do some of the things that they really need to do. So that becomes the haves and the have-nots, and it's more setting up a stronger overall tax base to serve all the students in that county or that district, however that's defined. So that was an interesting point for me. District takeovers, that's another big one, and that's some of the fundamental rights. Local voters are allowed to, that's one of your rights, to vote into your control of your school boards. And there's a number of rationale that we don't agree with or problems to see with the law, but one of them is taking away from local voter rights, because you're essentially saying, yeah, you voted these people in, but they're going out. Well, school board sets the tone for school district, sets policies, that sort of thing, and direction. But we don't run the schools. We don't go in, walk the halls. A lot of people seem to think that. After all these years and telling them otherwise, they still seem to think that. But that's not the way it works. So I'm not sure how that fixes anything going on in the school district or not going on in the school district that needs to happen. It's usually a lot deeper rooted than that. So removing local control, there's no defined sunset to it. It's typically 8 to 10 years, but it could go on indefinitely. And replacement overseers, or the replacement board that's put in, is appointed by legislators, one by the governor. There's a different mix of how they do that, and State Department of Ed mix some in. So things that, like I said, that we don't immediately have to be concerned with, but they do impact us.
Yeah, it's based on underperforming and chronically underperforming, or losing accreditation and things like that we hope to not run afoul of anytime soon in Fort Mill.
And consolidation generally takes at least a two-prong approach. You've got, each year there are bills introduced to consolidate all the districts into one county. I think North Carolina has that.
Yes.
And then there are the bills, and more recently what's going on is the low-hanging fruit, the low numbers. It makes more sense to consolidate those low student enrollment districts than it does. If you, for example, you come into Spartanburg County, York County, there are all kind of issues. If you can, we've got 17,800, Rock Hill's got 17,300, Clover's got another 9,000. I mean, you can imagine that being one district. It'd be like a Greenville and a Charlotte Meck, in my opinion, which becomes less, maybe efficient on some ways, but less efficient in reality.
More bureaucratic.
Right. More bureaucratic, and And then there's the issue of debt. I mean, I know,
Yes.
you know, we owe a lot of debt because we built so many schools in the last 20 years. Okay, does York One want to help Fort Mill pay for that school debt? I don't think so. So
I'm thinking not.
I don't think it'll ever, I think that'll be the tough part about just somebody who wants to consolidate into a county system.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not a lot of change on the ethics side of things and ethics filings and whatnot, so that was refreshing from
Got a new system.
Yeah,
coming.
we do have a new system coming now, should be now.
Yeah.
Is what they said, but,
If you haven't used it, you can't appreciate it.
right, true story.
I think it was designed in the 70s.
At
Or
least.
before, I'm not sure.
Yeah, for real. Aside from that, from a state board level, I would like to say thanks to my colleagues for nominating me to be the Secretary Treasurer of the South Carolina School Boards Association. I have been nominated by my peers, which was then sent to the state board directors and executive board and a nominating committee. And I have been nominated from them to take on that role, which puts me in an executive board lineup for the future. It's been a little over 31 years since we've had someone from the Fort Mill area or Fort Mill School District that has been that person to go through the process to, in the future, if everything stays equal, to be the president of the South Carolina School Boards Association in about 3 years. So,
Congrats.
In the meantime, you gotta take notes, right?
right?
That's
No,
right.
no, actually, there's somebody that does that. I just am the face.
You just report.
Right, I just report it, so,
Good luck.
yeah.
I'll end on this. I just looked down at my notes and I saw something I had highlighted. This is my public service announcement, because I did not know this, but when it comes to social media, if someone likes a post on Facebook, if you like a post, it is the same legally as though you posted it yourself.
So think twice.
So be careful
So
about
3 times.
liking comments of others, because it is a direct reflection and a legal reflection on the actual liker. So keep that in mind the next time you're on Facebook.
So just don't like anything.
Don't
Just
like
don't,
anything.
just don't like it.
Just don't do it.
All right. You said no? Okay,
All right.
I gave 'em. All right, I think that's our reports and information. We've got some staff reports now, starting with financials and impact fees.
Good evening. Tonight in your packet, we have included the monthly financials for July. We are now in the first month of the new fiscal year. Our finance group, we're still working on last year and will be for a while till we finish the audit, but for your purposes, we are moving you forward to July. Just as a reminder, when you look at this, July is a month where we've only include our 240-day salary and benefit cost. The majority of our employees start their new fiscal year on an August is their first paycheck, so they run August through July. So we only upload the budget for non-salary benefit cost. So it's kind of interesting, you look at the total budget and what we included, and it's just shy of $20 million. So out of a $177 million budget, only $20 million is non-salary benefit cost, and $157 million is tied to positions in this district out of our new year budget. But when you see August, we will have loaded the full budget at that time. So for July, total revenues were $7,027,400. Expenditures were $5,153,000. So it was a positive cash flow month because, as I mentioned, very few people started the new payroll year for July, only the 240-day employees. So as of this point, I don't have any concerns 1 month into the new fiscal year. Hopefully, we'll continue trending positive. Questions about July or other? I have a few other financial topics, but do you have any questions?
240-day employees, that means 12 months.
Correct, 12-month employees.
Teachers would not be a 240-day employee.
Correct. Teachers start their new pay cycle in August. They get paid year-round, but they run August through July 31st.
For convenience.
It's more, as far as I know, every district in South Carolina handles it that way because it matches when their contract period starts more closely. Okay. Impact fees, total collected to date, $42,163,719. August, we had a slower month. We only had 17 homes and 6 multifamily, but as I mentioned, month to month, that continues to go up and down depending on what developments are being started and permitted. Single-family units are now up to 1,693 and multifamily units 946. So to date, through the beginning of the new impact fee, we have collected on 2,639 units for impact fees. Okay?
And they've all started school.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really miss a report that we used to get that gave us the year-over-year, the rolling 12 months to see, because I look at the numbers every month, and yeah, I can't remember from a year ago. Is this high or low? And I thought it was low.
So we can do that. If you'd like to see a month-to-month comparison for the same month last year.
Yes.
Or year-to-date.
It would just summarize sort of by month or so.
I track that, so I can easily provide those summaries. Okay.
That tells me more than
Well,
actual numbers.
And I mean, just from memory, it has been trending about $1 million a month, give or take, right?
Correct.
800 to $1 million a month.
Correct.
If you average it, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
It's
no,
been
everything's
from
consistent.
12 to 14 million a year. So it would probably be more, I guess, meaningful to kind of share with you each month the year-to-date compared to same period last year versus same month-to-month. As I said, it depends on just which developments are being permitted that month, so.
Well, and I feel like this is probably the lightest month we've had in.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I can't
It
remember
is.
how long.
It is.
Like forever.
Yes.
But I was out doing what I do now, and somebody used the M word that everybody kind of shudders at. I don't really think that we have that M word going on around here. I think it's just we're in between, and mostly because builders can't get supplies and can't get things finished. So it's coming.
It does. It fluctuates month to month. So, we also had our procurement audit, which is separate than our financial audit. That was recently completed in the last month by our external audit firm. As you can imagine, we had a lot of emergency COVID procurements during the past fiscal year, which require a little more write-up on our part to justify those. I'm pleased to report that the auditors did not have any concerns with that. We got the check off on all of those with our documentation. They always have a few what I call immaterial picky comments, but we do welcome those because it provides us some input to really rethink our processes and how we're doing things and work with our schools on how we can improve with procurement, because as you know, we're under the state code and we have to follow the state code. We have our own code, but it has to be substantially similar to the state code. So we're always looking to make sure that we're in full compliance. But they always have to come up with some small picky comments to share with us. But they had no major concerns, which it was a very interesting procurement year last year with all the PPE that we purchased and how we had to react very quickly, which a lot of times we had to do that at the moment. We did not have time for bidding. When a vendor had something available, we had to jump on it. But we were very successful with that, with how we documented it. They were very pleased. We are still expecting the state to come out with a new school district state procurement code. We had expected it this summer, and the state keeps pushing it back, but we still do expect it to come out this fall, and as soon as it does, we would start the process with you for review for approval, because we would need to adopt the new code, the new state code. We had 2 bond sales recently. We issued the $5.1 million for our installment purchase plan payments. We had 4 bidders. The low bidder was Huntington Bank at an interest rate of 0.47%. We also issued the $25 million bond anticipation note, which completed our 2018 referendum. We had 8 bidders, and the low bidder was Morgan Stanley at 0.09%. So we are very pleased with both of those 2 bond issues that we had in the last month. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is just to remind everyone and parents watching that we still are under the federal school lunch and breakfast program, where all students in our district can eat free breakfast and lunch. And just to update the board and tell, many of you have been able to volunteer and help us recently, and we really appreciate that. But we've had 1 very successful pickup for Forest Creek Middle School last week. We had a great response from families. We put out notification that we would do a kind of bag and go breakfast lunch, and had a very successful pickup with that. Tomorrow will be the one for Pleasant Knoll Middle School. So we bagged today. But thank you to the board members who have been able to help or volunteer their families to help, because as I keep sharing with you, we are very short on cafeteria staff, and so we have to have the volunteers to be able to do this. And I've recruited a lot of the district office to come over and help some. So we have been pleased with the success of that for those families during this time as well. So any other questions for me?
Yes, I have some questions.
Okay.
So we approved $177 million as a board, June. Of that $177 million, I conducted a deep dive. I tried to, at least. And I was looking for federal funding. I was trying to gain an understanding of the data points and all that. So I saw something that I was hoping was going to be $5 million, $7 million of the $177 million representing federal, but that wasn't the case.
Correct.
So the question I have is, so where are we when it comes to federal funding? I would like for everyone to understand where we are when it comes to that.
Okay. Percentages, I'm not sure I know that off the top of my head. But as far as federal funding, when you look at the general fund of $177 million, the only federal funds that come through here are for our junior ROTC programs at our high schools. We do receive a supplemental stipend for our officers that are running those programs at our 3 high schools. And total is about $158,000 budgeted out of the $177 million. So whatever 0.0000 percentage, that's the only federal money that comes through our general fund. We received, outside of that and outside of ESSER, which the ESSER, the CARES Act funding, has been unique for us in the last 2 years. On a recurring basis, we receive federal funding for Title I and for IDEA special services, special education for our students. We are, being the lowest free and reduced poverty district in the state, we receive the lowest amount of federal funding in the state. But we receive about $650,000 in Title I, and we receive about $2.4 million in IDEA special services. But with those funds, they are very restrictive. They are for specific purposes only. There's a very detailed application that the district goes through every year to request those funds, and they are, as you can imagine, primarily tied to positions. They are tied to teaching positions at our 2 Title I schools and some other specialty support positions there. And for IDEA, they're tied to our special ed teachers.
So the takeaway is it's very small percentage.
Very small percentage.
Not in the general fund. for
Correct.
Covering the general operation.
Correct.
State funding makes up the majority chunk.
Correct. In the general fund, primarily, it's about a 50-50 split with state funding, which is the EFA, the base student cost funding, and the local property taxes.
So as an example,
Yes.
so of that $177 million that we had approved, I believe the number was 88.6% represented salaries and benefits.
Correct.
So essentially, 50-50, 50 comes from state, 50 comes from local taxation.
Correct.
Correct, that, yes.
And the positions are not specifically tied to these positions at this school are local, these positions at this school are state. It is one pot of funding that makes up our general fund budget, and then we track our expenditures. So we do not specifically match certain administrative positions or teaching positions to either state or local.
Thank you, ma'am.
It goes in together. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good
Okay.
job.
Very much.
Thank you.
Real quick, can you?
Sure.
You mentioned ESSER.
Yes.
It was just last week before, that we officially, finally, formally submitted our ESSER.
We did. It was due August 24th. We submitted on August 23rd our ESSER 3 application, which was approximately $5.2 million. We are still working through the formal approval process with the State Department as well as the Office of School Facilities on those funds, but we submitted all the required documents.
No reason for any concern.
No.
But we haven't received the funding into our hands yet.
We have received, they went ahead and, I guess the best word is prepaid districts two-thirds of the funding, pending your formal approval, and then they will release the remaining one-third.
So as we've grown as a student population, we've stayed the same in same range, ratio?
We have stayed in the same range proportionately with other districts in the state.
I see.
Even though we have grown, we're still the lowest free and reduced district. So proportionately, we may have inched up just a tad in federal funding, but very small. What we've seen for the most part is federal funding has stayed somewhat level outside of ESSER and CARES Act. That's been unique. But the other recurring federal dollars have stayed somewhat level, meaning if we have positions in there and those teachers receive a step increase, a cost of living increase, fringe benefits go up, we have to put an additional 1% in the state retirement system. You have seen us in several budget years have to move teachers away from those funds and pick them up in the general fund for that reason. Because federal dollars have not increased at the same rate as the cost of the positions.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lordo. All right, your turn for a couple of updates,
All
calendar
right,
events.
we'll begin with calendar of events, and when you look on your page, you can't see where we took off the school visits, but we did. And I just went ahead, and I don't know that we can add them back before November, but just so everybody wouldn't, keep looking forward to it. We had a day in September, October, and November, and we'll just try to see how this thing goes. We can get on the other side of this curve on the numbers and get back in the schools, and we will. So maybe we can add them back prior to then, but y'all had them initially on your calendar, I believe. The big thing coming up this month, I think, is the Fort Mill TUK Chamber State of the Community, and I think most of you are going to that. That's next, that's on the 23rd at the Shore Club at the Glendon Center, right? Is that where it's located? There's a restaurant in there? Okay, in TUK. So that's the breakfast and the update. I don't have any big dates on my calendar because we've because of what's going on in the with the virus. But we've got a work day for OEC scheduled. I think that's a Monday the 18th, I believe it is, this year. And I'm not sure what we're going to do there because we're probably not going to let people travel Right, I mean, we hadn't, yeah. So we'll, anyway, that's a no student day. It'll be at least a training day in the district if we don't. Usually they go to all like the music people will go somewhere and the art people will go somewhere all over the region, so we'll see. And then the board meetings are listed. Then you get all the way up to Thanksgiving. Wow, that looks like it's a short time to get there.
And it will be.
And I looked at my calendar thinking that surely there was something important that you'd left off, and I could not find a thing either, so everything's been canceled.
I think so. Anybody else have any other dates that I may have missed of import? Okay. Looking at the numbers, I think somewhere, and I see several sheets here. The one that's most interesting to me is where we stand at the end of the as of Friday, I believe it is 17,839. That's up from last month. I can't recall what last month's number was, but the number over to the right, 984. So that means from this time last year till this past Friday, we grew 984. Now, like I've talked with Mr. Bolden about this, that's probably, it may not be 984 exact new ones. Remember we had kids in homeschool, we had, so somewhere, I don't know exactly what the real number is. I guess we could flesh it out. Doesn't matter. Bottom line is it's growing. And what we said was we would look at the board may recall, we'd look at the 10-day numbers. We're now preparing the 10-year facility update, right, Dr. Smallsy and Mr. Romanek, and we're going to be presenting to the board in the next month or so that, and so it is my goal, I think, to before Christmas, and even sooner than that, we need to decide what we're going to do in regards to this growth. Remember, we're just built our last school. It was approved, the last bond referendum. So there will be another bond referendum in Fort Mill School District. We just got to decide when. And we've been saying that, and the numbers we weren't sure if we could loosen our belt a little bit and push it off a year or two. But those are the decisions we'll have to make prior to because if you have it in 2022, you need to go ahead and make a decision by Christmas and either have it in the spring or you got to make those calls because it takes several months to prepare. And it may be that we push it, but that'll be a board call there. Then there's that other little persnickety thing called impact fee that we're going to have to re-up in 2023. So we got some heavyweight decisions to make going forward that are of critical importance to the district on the financial side.
Dr. F., can you elaborate when you say re-up on the impact so everyone can understand what?
Yeah, what the new impact fee law of 2016 put a 5-year sunset clause in place. The old impact fee of 1996 or 8, whenever we did that, it just kept getting, it didn't have a sine die, as they say at the legislature. So this one has a 5-year, and I think the thinking there, and we don't know exactly what that looks like. I think, Leanne, we're not really sure. We'll have to find out, but if we don't get it reauthorized, or we'll have to do another study, we'll have to just start like we were doing from scratch. The impact fees may go away, so that's critical. We've been able to offset some debt for taxpayers by having the impact fee over the years, but it'll just make it more challenging if we don't have it.
And it's my understanding that obviously the fee would have to be reapproved if they chose to reapprove it in 5 years. Well, that's going to say but the calculation will be based on new numbers.
That's right.
Of needs, capacity, costs of facilities, all of those things that have to go into it. And I don't know, the cost is up, but maybe capacity's down,
I have no idea what that number will be as we speak today. So, but those are the two huge challenges going for this board and this district going forward. That's before you even talk about the pandemic. That's been a side issue as far as funding goes, a big side issue, but a side issue. Questions? All right.
Can I ask a couple questions about enrollment?
Yeah, I was getting ready to.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Go ahead.
I was going to continue, but no, I was just going to say, but I think I know where you're going. We got some issues, but we 17,839. We've got some high loads in some classrooms, but I'll let you ask your question.
Well, I appreciate the copy that we got that's highlighted where the issues are. That's nice. My first question is I see that it looks like one of the issues that we talked about at Gold Hill was addressed. But it looks like Kingstown is still potentially high in first grade. Is that correct?
I didn't know we had addressed completely the Gold Hill. Where, Marty?
Maybe I'm not.
I don't think so. We still have some numbers at Gold Hill that
All right.
we're trying to figure out. I think there's one classroom that is used for something else right now, so we just
Okay.
have a decision. I've asked for Tommy Gray and Josh and I need, and Dr. Epps and make a call on that this week.
Okay.
So, that's one of the issues, and, I think Kingstown, we're looking at a potential, Jocelyn and I have talked through a scenario to give assistance to first grade without splitting the class at this time.
And I see that the numbers in fifth grade at Riverview are also starting to creep up there pretty high. And I know there's additional assistance opportunities there, but it looks pretty high compared to the other grade levels for other schools across the board, so.
Any other bubbles, Marty, that you?
Not that I've heard of, well, there are always some that you wonder how it's gonna go, but none that I've heard from principals on.
I've got a question about the spreadsheet there. On the left-hand column, it's obvious, grades 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. But then there's a separate line item for homeroom. And I just wondered the explanation. Tell me what that's telling me. What's that telling me? It says homeroom, then homeroom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Homeroom is kindergarten, homeroom 1 is first grade, second grade, third grade.
No, there's a kindergarten, a PK3, PK4.
I wonder if that's the total number of homerooms at the school.
No.
That wouldn't make sense, because there wouldn't be only 5 teachers.
just-
There's a row that,
PK3 is 3-year-old preschool intervention, 4-year-old preschool.
we don't know what that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, but one of those is highlighted, and then I'm like, okay, well, what is it?
Well, I would like to understand the information if it's on here.
I'm sorry, what? I'd have to say, I don't know.
I just think that it's how we designate kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade.
First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Kindergarten 3 and 4, but we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
There's
It's
one
probably
row
like
that-
Wayne said, it's probably the number.
No, it's not.
But there's a row above it that just
This
says
just
homeroom.
says homeroom with a number of students,
It's
a
probably
number of
just,
teachers.
yeah, it's probably just the total.
It may be off a line or something in the
Yeah.
spreadsheet or something.
Hold on, we're saying probably about this stuff, but who's responsible for
We
this?
can find out. I mean,
Okay. I just want to know, if I'm
Responsible-
reading something, I want to know I want to understand
Responsible
it.
party is not here.
Is not in
Okay,
there.
got it, okay, got you. My apologies. Okay,
No problem.
I'll shut up.
Well, they'll get back to us.
Yep, okay,
Please.
sorry.
Just for edification.
I think the other celebration, there's a lot of principals in the room tonight. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Love to see you.
But, looking at the teacher attendance, it's awesome to see how high the
It's
teacher
pretty
attendance rates
tremendous.
are. I think Ms. McGinn did a great job with her opening with Teacher of the Year and talking about the resilience of teachers. And it's, seeing those high percentages, that should be celebrated. And, thank your staffs for their hard work.
And when the absences are necessary, I know it's been an all hands on deck to find coverage and subs and
Yeah.
covering other classes and things for those who are out. I know whether it's for their own reason or for a student of theirs, their child is quarantined or whatever. So I know everybody's all hands on deck and pulling their weight. So thank you guys and thank all of your staff for
Yep.
making it work.
Yeah, you stole my next thing. The school attendance winner
What is?
was TKK Elementary, 99.826, so. And just,
Thank you.
Oh,
there you go. You found
excellent
an answer.
answer.
That makes
Got it.
perfect sense.
Thank you, Marty.
The kind of following up on what Ms. Spears said, and following up on Scott's comment, Dr. Frattaroli, I can't thank the principals and the teachers enough for perseverance in what has been a very trying time. You know, you don't see the devil's in the details. You see the number of positives, you see the number of quarantines, and then when you pull teachers away from their job because their own children are quarantined or positive, those are the hidden numbers. And that's why one of the reasons we're staffing a school is the hidden story that nobody sees or understands. So there'll be days, y'all, I'll share the numbers with y'all, where we're short subs X amount. Well, that's significant. You know, that means we got to cover those and that doesn't show up. So thank you for the work you've done. Thank your staff if they're not here listening tonight. The stress levels are high. I know that. But we do appreciate, I do, and I know the board does, the efforts of all of our people, principals and teachers, particularly our teachers. Just can't thank you enough. And in this climate we're in, it's you often don't hear that from the folks who are talking. But please go back and thank them for what they're doing, and hopefully we'll get through this sooner than later. That's all.
Anything else?
I have a general question.
We didn't get the middle school, high school.
Oh, you didn't recognize.
Well, I gave the district winner, but the middle, but you're right. The Catawba Ridge was 98.31, a little old paltry 98, and Fort Mill Middle was 98.25, and TKK just blew them out of the water. So
all right, fair enough.
Give them.
Just a quick question, and Dr. Epps, I know you're often in close communication with the other superintendents in the state, and we know obviously the results of the Supreme Court ruling last week. But has there been any other word that you've heard of, or maybe I'm just living under a rock, but as far as what's going to happen from the state level to the school districts that are violating the proviso?
Funny you'd say that. We were in the superintendent's annual symposium, which is a 2-day meeting last week, and I'm trying to remember, it was about the time, can't remember when the ruling came down. It may have been after the meeting.
It was while you were there, because you were there Thursday and Friday, and it came down on Thursday night.
Okay. And so they're about, when you look at the total number of districts, how many did y'all say there were, Wayne?
80 in the state. 78
or so, 80 now because of consolidation. And you look at the ones who are in the situation you're talking about, Dr. Frattaroli, which is probably somewhere between 5 and 8, I don't know. So everybody was looking around the room and calling their lawyers, because I don't know what's going to happen to now. They're with the Supreme Court backing the governors and the legislature's ruling. That gives that side precedent, that part of the debate, and that's why you don't see the other 70 districts jumping across and taking it on. So I don't know the answer. I think they're in a corner. I think somebody's got to do something, but I don't know when it'll happen, or you know, they keep saying, well, you could wait till next year, go ahead and push the button, and the legislature's got to reconvene. But whenever it happens, if we're going to lose half of our funding, I just think it would be bad for us. But that's not what you asked, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
But they don't know either, and I think everybody's wondering.
So there hasn't been any formal discussion as far as...
A lot of nervous people in the room.
Yeah.
What I have seen are statements from several of the districts saying, our legal team is reviewing the outcome, and in the meantime, we sure hope and encourage everybody to wear masks. But I think the question is enforcement. The real question is enforcement versus encouraging.
Okay.
Well, and I think a little bit to your point in terms of financing, one of the big discussions that we had for the state board meeting when we were in Charleston is the fact that, you know, we don't get a fully funded base student cost. And this is some districts going against the legislators, who are the ones that, in essence, write those checks, put those budgets together. and it could have detrimental effects to everyone else where a base student cost is concerned, because they're probably going to want to, in their fashion, make a grandstand and make a statement. And so
But nobody
we'll
knows.
play by that rule,
Nobody knows.
right?
One last thing I failed to mention, we have a new member pending board approval of the administrative team tonight. Dr. Emily McQuay is somewhere in the,
Over there?
she's our new principal at Fort Mill Middle School. Welcome, Emily. Will be, hopefully.
That's right.
Don't put any pressure on
Okay, we'll see, we'll see, we'll talk about it.
I'll let you know.
I thought so.
All right, well, we are in need of an executive session to receive personnel recommendations and to discuss legal issues. So if I could get a motion to move into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All right, we are in executive session. Thank